How do you solve a problem like Joe Rogan? Well, according to the news, it's simple. Joe Rogan is a menace to our society and a threat to the fabric of our nation. Or maybe legacy media isn't exactly the voice of truth. For 5 years now, there's been a coordinated effort by the mainstream media to discredit Joe and every independent voice outside of their club.
Misinformation and making money off of it. Disinformation, I should say.
Because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do.
Yeah, what if Joe Rogan didn't rise just because of who he is, but because of what the corrupt media failed to be?
These are not two narratives. They're the same story.
Today, we expose what's really going on.
Tonight, we take a closer look at how in just 15 years, a comedian and UFC commentator has become one of the most influential voices in America.
People like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear. To think that someone has such remarkable power is something that I look at in disbelief.
I applaud, by the way, you and the other podcasters.
But not all opinions are created equal.
Trump did like 100 million views on Joe Rogan's show.
I definitely regret that we didn't do it.
This was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time.
Dude, look at that. And what did he say?
He basically said I won him the election.
Are you the most powerful interviewer on the planet? Or are you the most powerful interview that the planet has ever seen?
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Is there a violent person in there?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of violence in me, for sure.
Is it connected to the dad at all?
All my damage came from my real father. And
before you were 7?
Yeah, before I was 7. He was like a psychotic person.
Really?
When my parents broke up, I was 5. And I remember being really into God then because I wanted things to make sense. I'd seen my dad hit my mom. We run out of the house, we flee, and all of a sudden now we're staying with my grandparents. And I didn't have a father anymore all of a sudden, and he wasn't contacting me anymore.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm like out here going, what the f is life? You know, what am I doing? I was very insecure. I just felt like a loser. I always felt like I just had to hide from people. I was like socially nervous around people. And I just felt like there were certain people that were winners in life and I was not that. I was a loser. The good thing about that was that I was forced to develop my own opinions about things. Instead of adopting an opinion of the neighborhood and the group about anything, I was forced to form my own thoughts and opinions about almost everything. It made me much more of an independent thinker. We moved from San Francisco to Florida when I was 11, Florida to Boston when I was 14, always moving to new schools, always dealing with new kids. I was bullied. I was a little kid. I was never very big, and I got picked on, and I didn't like it. Dude, I was scared of this one kid.
Really?
Oh, so bad. We had this confrontation in a locker room, and I do remember him getting me in a headlock, throwing me on the ground, and then leaning like he was gonna punch me in the face, but deciding not to. And I didn't know what to do. And now here I am on my back, I'm trapped, like, God damn it, I gotta learn how to wrestle. I gotta learn some martial arts or something. So then I started taking karate, and then I started taking wrestling, like right after that. During my formative years, from the time I was 15 till I was 22, all I did was fight. That's all I did. It was my whole life. I won the Massachusetts State Championship 4 years in a row, came in 2nd place in the US Cup. And then all of a sudden I was successful at something, only because I was obsessed with it. Wow, maybe I'm not a loser.
You are fighting, and then your pal talked you into becoming
My friend grabbed me by my shoulders and said, you should be a comedian.
So then what happened?
I went to an open mic night.
What's up? What's going on, huh?
From that, I realized that like these unconventional paths, they brought me something that I wasn't getting from regular life. It brought me self-esteem.
That's the crazy part, right? Joe actually came from mainstream TV. He started out as a comedian, but his first big break, acting on news radio from 95 to 99.
Hey.
Joe, what are you doing?
Fixing the comp here.
Why don't you fix it over there?
Because the light's better over here.
Joe was very outspoken, always. I mean, his stand-up was really outspoken. They sort of also infused in his character a little bit of a conspiracy theorist thing that came from Joe.
Why did he quit acting, though?
I hated dealing with actors. I felt like I didn't belong there. I felt like I couldn't be myself. The whole thing to me was like this weird play that people were putting on, where everybody was trying to pretend to be something so that they can get auditions. Everybody is trying to conform to what they think everybody wants them to be like. You have to talk like they talk. You have to say things that's going to ingratiate you with them. You got to fit in. You got to fit in. So everybody's scared to do anything that's not inside the political norm.
Right.
You got to stay inside those boundaries.
You can hate Joe Rogan for what he is, but at least you know who you're hating. He's real. He's authentic. The people on the news, it's all a performance. The
faces
change,
but the script never
does. In 2001, Joe Rogan became the host of Fear Factor, a show that turned fear, pain, and humiliation into primetime entertainment.
I'm Joe Rogan. Welcome to Fear Factor.
This is the most insane idea for a television show I've ever heard, and I always thought it was going to be canceled, and it was a giant hit. I was like, this is so stupid. The show is so stupid.
It was awesome.
It was a fitting start for a man who would one day accuse the media of corrupting the public. Because in that moment, he learned how to profit from it.
It wasn't what I wanted to do. I was doing it for money. So it gave me you money.
Now you're free.
Now I can do whatever.
Yeah, you're free to create whatever you want.
What's really crazy is it all happened post-September 11, like right afterwards.
Yeah.
That's when it aired.
That was also a turning point for mainstream media. All right, let me break it down for you. After 9/11, the press became complicit in convincing Americans that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, that invading was justified.
This administration was very clearly pushing a narrative.
The read we get on the people of Iraq is there's no question but what they want to get rid of Saddam Hussein, and they will welcome as liberators the United States when we come to do that.
The president has left no doubt that he's ready to go to war.
To liberate and disarm Iraq.
We don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud.
It's all a lie. Completely exposed in the years that followed.
These discussions always make me incredibly sad because they point to institutional failure at the highest levels.
And then comes 2008. Millions lost their homes, their jobs, their savings, everything. Where were the so-called experts when the housing market was about to collapse?
The financial press cheered on a bubble that eventually burst, showed a lack of skepticism about Wall Street claims, and failed to expose what was in effect mass fraud on their own beat, namely the mis-selling of mortgages to millions of Americans.
It turns out that the financial press, there is nobody in the financial press who writes for ordinary people.
Well, that was about to change.
How many of you heard of podcasting? Great. How many of you actually know what it is? Podcasting is a word that's concatenation of iPod and broadcasting, right? Put together podcasting. And what podcasting is, it's started off as Wayne's World for radio. Think of it that way. Right, where you've got anybody could make a radio show and put it on the internet and broadcast it out there and anybody else could listen to it. Adam Curry is one of the guys that invented podcasting.
So the idea was no gatekeepers. I've always had gatekeepers from when I was broadcasting. So now I could do whatever I want. But that also comes responsibility. But who cares? We're broadcasting. Let's get that part going. So not having gatekeepers means that you can just say whatever you want.
Toast. Cheers, man. Cheers.
Dude, I think this is awesome.
Thank you, man. See, no, I mean,
this is the craziest thing ever. I can't thank you enough because being on your show in 2007 really was a big part of the inspiration to do this. And
it really is different, you know, than television.
This is way better.
It's like radio, but it's like television, and the genre is different because we can sit here and ramp. You know, there isn't that time constraint. You know, isn't that pressure.
You were a pioneer, man. You were out. You had figured it out before anybody. You had a full internet talk show running from your house, and when you had me as a guest on, it changed the course of my life.
You just need to keep doing this. We need to figure out how you make money from this.
Yeah.
I remember like light bulbs just going off in my head, like, why don't I do this?
The thing that fucked up television, the thing that fucked up entertainment in general is money. They were selling advertising, so everybody has to say certain words, don't say certain words, don't bring up certain subjects. You can't just express yourself because you're expressing yourself to someone who's selling advertising space. Yeah. And that's all it is. And that fucks up everything. It doesn't make anything good.
In 1983, 90% of US media was owned by 50 companies. By 2011, number dropped to 6. 6 companies controlling almost everything we see and hear. And today, those 6 media giants share the same investors: BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. 3 financial institutions that together manage over $20 trillion, hold major stakes in almost every major news and entertainment company on Earth. So let me ask you. Who really controls the truth in modern America?
Hello, world. What's going on?
The Joe Rogan Experience launched in 2010 with 67 episodes, mostly casual conversations. By 2011, that number had climbed to over 100.
I've had people on that like no one knows who they are. Regular folks that I think are interesting.
Joe's guests started to evolve. scientists, philosophers, artists.
What point did you realize, holy this thing's crazy?
I remember very clearly I was on stage once in Chicago, and I had this story that I was going to tell. I'm like, how many people listen to the podcast? There's 3,700 people in the place, and they went nuts. Yeah! I was like, oh.
What's fascinating to me is how so many different people think so differently about all kinds of aspects of life. There's a lot of people in the beginning of the podcast when I first started doing it, they were like, you should edit your podcast, they're too long. And I'm like, well, they won't listen. The way I want to do it is I want to have long conversations with people. In 3 hours, you really get to know how a person thinks. You really get into the weeds about subjects, especially like complex subjects.
Meanwhile, mainstream media is over there making bank on 5-second sound clips from cherry-picked industry plants pushing the same talking points over and over again.
Joining us now is Dr. Richard Noodleman, an expert in media perception and audience manipulation.
Just check out this graph. It shows how the media became more and more polarized through the years. Right? The very same outlets that claim to be objective grew less and less so. How do you know what's true anymore?
For a start, you can use Ground News. It's an app and a website that aggregates news and lets you see how different outlets from every side of the political spectrum cover the exact same story. Ground News even displays ownership, which is an issue we've already discussed. Each news source is assigned a political bias rating. It's eye-opening. It's like having these media outlets be brutally honest about who they really are.
I'm biased. These aren't real notes, they're just scribbles.
I'm biased. This isn't my real hair. I'm bald as f***.
I'm biased. I get all my news from memes.
I'm biased. I use outrage to get my audience worked up so I can sell them pills. Check this out. Let's pick from the top news stories. This one has been covered by 192 outlets. 38% of the sources lean left. If you go here, you can compare coverage to see which narrative each side is pushing. And my personal favorite, the bias comparison summary. This on top is the blind spot feature. It shows you which news is being disproportionately covered by one side of the spectrum. All these tools allow you to see the full picture so you can think critically about what's going on. Ground News even shows you your own news bias, so go check it out for yourself. And if you want access to the same top tier Vantage plan I use, scan this QR code or go to groundnews.com/Gavia. You'll get 40% off while supporting an independent platform aiming to add more transparency to the news media and my channel at the same time. A big thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to it. Remember Snowden? The media went crazy on him for exposing that the government was spying on its own citizens. But whose job is that, huh?
Journalists are supposed to do that shit.
They've got 1,000 incentives not to get involved in this stuff. They need access to the White House. They need these officials to sit down with them and give interviews, right? That's constant content that they need. That's access that they need. It is a codependent relationship.
They didn't just fail to do their job. They helped push the government's narrative, turning the guy who exposed their crimes into the most wanted man in America.
When you don't tell your story, other people will tell it for you.
He's the functional equivalent in the intelligence community of a mass murderer in terms of criminal law.
That's beyond whistleblowing. That's called committing a crime against your country. This man's a traitor. The greatest traitor to the United States in American history.
They were like, well, what about Joe Rogan? And, I'd heard about you at this point, but, the only thing that I had really seen that I really understood had familiarity with was like you talking to Bernie Sanders, which, by the way, I very much appreciated. A lot of people don't give the guy time to talk.
But it takes us to another issue, and that as a nation, we do a pretty bad job in analyzing and discussing the serious issues facing our country. And I hold the media to some degree responsible for that.
It was interesting to me when people started criticizing Bernie or somebody else for going on Rogan.
Look, you can have an argument with Rogan, agree with him, disagree with him, but what's the problem going on those shows? It's hard for me to understand that.
If you have time to go have a conversation with somebody, that is consistent with democracy.
You told me, I think, that you're getting something like 70 million downloads a month?
It's more than like 120 now.
Okay, so you're getting 1 billion downloads a year.
Something like that.
Are you the most powerful interviewer on the planet? Or are you the most powerful interview that the planet has ever seen?
I've had requests from all of them.
Really?
Oh yeah, Biden, Warren.
How do you resist that?
Because I have my friends. I'd rather talk to my friends.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time. I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him.
The night is still young. We'll see.
Developing tonight, the Centers for Disease Control is reporting the first case of coronavirus has made it here in the U.S.
And I don't know if you remember this, but a bunch of people started getting censored or straight up deplatformed for saying stuff that didn't line up with the truth. The truth that kept changing every month.
But a growing body of research shows face masks may help slow the spread of coronavirus.
They have a significant impact on the potential spread of COVID.
The most rigorous and comprehensive analysis of scientific studies conducted on the efficacy of masks, its conclusions, there is just no evidence that masks, make any difference, full stop.
Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky just signed off on the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine for emergency use.
Some breaking news, an advisory panel to the CDC saying people should not get the Johnson & Johnson vaccines.
The Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines do not affect fertility. Getting a COVID-19 vaccine while pregnant is safe.
Of the 458 pregnant women who got that Pfizer vaccine, more than half of them had an adverse event and more than 10% reported miscarriages.
Didn't Joe sign with Spotify exactly around that time?
Yeah, May 2020. Joe became one of the only mainstream figures willing to bring on doctors and experts with different points of view.
That's when the big dogs started fighting back.
More breaking news this evening. Joe Rogan, an extremely popular podcaster, announced on social media today that he has COVID.
So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak. That's crazy if you think you're going to make me look yellow. Like the video's still on my Instagram, you idiots.
Yeah. One of those drugs he mentioned, ivermectin, is something more often used to deworm horses.
Wow, this is how dirty it really is. Because
Yeah.
it was the same verbiage everywhere, horse dewormer.
Ivermectin is a drug that is commonly used as a horse dewormer.
To deworm livestock.
The deworming medicine.
Swallowing horse paste.
They weren't saying a medicine that won the Nobel Prize, part of the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines, a medicine that's been prescribed billions of times, one of the safest drug profiles known.
Yeah.
They weren't saying that. And so here we are on Wednesday, and I feel great.
Wait a second. He said that he got better because he ate. He said cattle dewormer.
He's trying to portray this as if he is feeling better now. He's doing better now.
Do you think that's a problem, that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude.
What did they say?
They lied
What did
and
they
said
say?
I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah, they shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
By the way, it was 3 hours of that, just to give you an idea. I mean, it was a lot of mental gymnastics.
You're working for a news organization. If they're lying about a comedian taking horse medication, what are they telling us about Russia? What are they telling us about Syria? Do you understand that that's why people get concerned about the veracity of the news?
Sanjay, you're a prince. I don't know where you get your patience.
Joe Rogan is responding after a number of artists, including Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, pulled their music from Spotify.
He purposely is saying this stuff that he knows isn't true about COVID, and people are dying, you know.
The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes. I do not know if they're right. I don't know, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them.
Spotify has been pressured to do something about it.
I told him, I said, you can have that guy or you can have me, you know, take your choice. So they chose to have that guy because they're making millions of dollars off of him. I'm never going back there or anywhere else like it. I don't have to. I don't want to.
Where's their music now?
It's all still on Spotify.
And when that didn't work, mainstream media threw another nuke at Joe.
Joe Rogan is once again under fire this morning, this time after a compilation video of the podcaster repeatedly using the N-word made the rounds online.
And we have to warn you, this is very disturbing to hear.
Saying the word
You've already said is just like
saying
she's calling you a like this boy that he's a and starts calling them word, especially like the word.
Hello, friends. I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly.
He said it, I think it's over 70 times or something. How do you legitimately apologize for that?
It looks horrible, even to me. I never used it to be racist because I'm not racist, but whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you f***ed up. And I clearly have f***ed up.
70 times? Over years? Really?
My sincere and humble apologies.
Seems to me he's going to have to do more than put out an apology video, a profanity-laced apology video, to put this matter to rest.
What do folks want to happen? Like when these old sound bites come out, right? You know, he apologized for them. What do you want to happen?
That would be enough to put anybody out of a job.
This has been a very concerted attempt to try to deplatform him.
It seems untenable to have that kind of video surface, that kind of compilation surface, and keep one's job.
That response, trying to cancel people, silence them, and smear their character, it is so dangerous because it undermines free speech in America.
Do you think Joe Rogan should be able to stay on Spotify where his podcast is carried on that platform?
No, it's terrible.
I wasn't cool with how they put that together. He was using he wasn't calling someone that. He was, it's different.
I don't like him doing the compilation, but I don't think Joe a racist though. I'm gonna keep it real.
Joe's never gave me any kind of feeling or any kind of indication of that, he's racist or anything like that.
Joe Rogan is one of the nicest, coolest, humble I've had the pleasure of working with.
What do you make of these celebrities trying to rush to Rogan's defense?
I think they rushed to his defense because he's got 10 million listeners. I mean, he moves product. He moves subscriptions if you're a writer. He can move alcohol if you're in the alcohol business. He can get votes if you're in the politics business. He is a home run for all these people.
The noise, man. You know what they're trying to do. You can't control the man, and he's got the biggest platform in the world right now. So that's my Joe Rogan. The noise.
You have been put through the ringer, Joe.
Yeah, I definitely got put through the ringer.
They did a number on you.
But my subscriptions went up massively. That's what's crazy. During the height of it all, I gained 2 million subscribers.
Joe Rogan is by far beating out primetime news. Twitter users compared ratings from legacy media with the Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan receives an average of 11 million viewers per show.
They tried real hard to cancel Rogan. You think people don't remember when you do this shit to them? That it's not going to have blowback?
Over time, he really embedded himself within a very deep right-wing bubble, surrounded by conservative billionaires and conservative politicians.
I know multiple guys that are billionaires, and they're very nice people.
But you're also friends with the cool billionaires.
Yeah.
You managed to find the cool ones.
Well, Elon's the coolest. He's my favorite billionaire.
He became the guy who appears like, hey, I'm the everyman, I'm the likable guy, but also, now I'm going to humanize Peter Thiel.
To some, Peter Thiel is a brilliant investor. He built PayPal, helped launch Facebook, and co-created Palantir, a surveillance tech company whose biggest client is the US intelligence community. To others, he's quietly become the most influential man in America. He bankrolls politicians, fuels culture wars, and most of all, loves to have people over for lunch.
Didn't you get invited to have lunch or something, or dinner with Peter?
Yes, I said no.
Did you?
I said no. I'm a little wary of that circle of people.
I've been to Peter's house twice. He has these power dinners and power lunches. They're really cool.
Let's
where
go.
It brings over interesting people and everyone has conversation.
I get invited to a lot of dinners and a lot of things. And what I try to do is I try to say to myself, I need to be able to criticize people and make fun of them.
Do you think that's part of the strategy of inviting you to go to places?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone has an agenda. I think what they try to do is sometimes launder that agenda through some cultural space.
I was working at Peter Thiel's family office in LA.
My boss and good friend Peter Thiel was a supporter of Trump in the last election.
A friend of mine, Peter Thiel.
I'm having lunch with Peter Thiel.
Well, my friend Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel. All guys you've met, all guys you've had on the show, I think are actually quite nice people.
A new question emerges. Has his platform become the very thing he once set out to challenge? A tool used by elites to push narratives that serve corporate interests.
You can go on these comedian podcasts, you can go on Andrew Schultz, you can go on Theo Von, you can go on Joe Rogan. The real benefit is not just the audience size, is that they're not going to press you at all. You can just say whatever you want.
There's a lot of speculation and talk, like one of your primary sponsors is a guy, Peter Thiel, right?
Yeah.
Peter Thiel is a terrible person. He's evil.
You think he is?
No. I think he's just telling you the truth.
Comedy podcasting is entering this world of like news or something.
Yeah.
And people are taking it serious.
I think if Hitler were alive today, he'd probably appear on Theo Von's podcast.
There was a clip from Mark Maron where he like said something about me in his comedy special.
Yeah.
And it was like Theo would interview Hitler.
He's dead, first of all. You can't.
Well, also, the Nelk Boys just interviewed him.
The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu.
What you guys did is no different than like what CNN does, okay?
Do you understand that this isn't just like a celebrity interview, that you are helping somebody who is like in the process of a genocide?
You like Burger King over McDonald's? That's your worst take, I think.
Absolutely.
That's a crazy take.
No, that was fine. I mean, I like Burger King. The answer is yes.
If Osama bin Laden wasn't dead, would you interview him?
Honestly, I don't know. That's a tough question.
What about Adolf Hitler?
I think we'd always kind of play the neutral role.
You would play a neutral role interviewing Adolf Hitler.
What do you feel about politicians and billionaires who've appeared on podcasts of your peers?
All I can say is personally, I would never do it.
The night is still young. We'll see.
If I have him on, the night is still young?
Yeah.
You think I'll have him on?
I think you'll have him on.
Really?
I mean, you had people like Kanye on, for example, and you had a great conversation with them.
But Kanye doing well or not doing well doesn't change the course of our country.
Yeah, but do you really bear the responsibility of the course of our country based on a conversation?
I think you can revitalize and rehabilitate someone's image in a way that is pretty shocking. We're rolling. Good to see you, sir. Here we go. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
I would never have somebody come on that's running for president with my intellect.
If you really want to do that correctly, it's something that I would have to research for a long time and to really, and I don't have that kind of time.
I would be like within 3 minutes, dude, what was your favorite Super Bowl? And then people would be like watching it going, I like that Super Bowl too. I'm going to vote for this guy.
I have watched you for so many years. You're not a Kamala person. You're a Khabib person, but you're not a Kamala person.
Many would say that it changed the course of the election, podcasting.
Because that's why Kamala lost. Republicans have a podcast.
Trump walking straight to you and gave you a big hug, and he's whispering sweet nothings in your ear. And what did he say?
He said, I won him the election.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. Are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
MAGA supporters literally burning their red MAGA hats are going viral online. And all of this comes a day after Trump berated Republicans as, quote, stupid and foolish.
Doesn't the fact that we're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein tell us how hard it is to come up with anything else?
No, because there's no answers.
There's a lot of talk about, did he have some sort of intel connection, right?
Right.
That, from my perspective, it's complete speculation. The blackmail is never really ever on the table as an option because it always leads to a problem.
But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist.
Kash Patel said there's nothing you're looking for. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to push back.
Right. What am I going to do? Push back? Yes! That's the job. And if you're not up to that job, stop having these people on your show.
I just let the internet have it. Let the internet deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this.
Part of the problem here is that there are only people who are doing the work of journalists and don't want to accept the responsibility of journalists.
I think Joe Rogan would say he's not anything close.
I'm not a respected source of information, even for me.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Don't listen to me. I'm an idiot. Why are you listening to me? Obviously, I'm an idiot.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
I'm a moron, and I'm a cage fighting commentator.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous
to our democracy.
This is extremely
dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous
To our democracy.
This is
extremely dangerous to our democracy. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Dude, imagine believing Joe Rogan.
Insane. Turn on CNN.
Brian, this is obviously someone who...
Dude, imagine believing the news. Insane.
Open YouTube.
How do you solve a problem like Joe Rogan? Well, according to the news, it's simple.
Joe Rogan is a menace to our society and a threat to the fabric of our nation.